Hi there, ladies and gents, and welcome back to your third webinar, the content being My Searches. My name's Michelle, so you'll be used to me already, listening to those other webinars. I'd just like to welcome you all back. This is a really kind of key webinar, as all the others are, but it's really important now to go, now we know that our data's on there, where can we search for it and what can we do with it? So the webinar will be about 45 minutes, just like the other ones as well, and we're going to look through their agenda now. So really, there's three different key searches in the system. Well, really there's two, and then we combine them. So there is, first of all, a data search. So what is a data search? Now, that is looking for key data in the system. So, for example, this morning, when we spent all that time building up that candidate profile, so putting in, are they a hot candidate? What are their skills? What's their minimum salary? That is all data you have keyed into the system. Also, anything that's pulled over from CV import, so again, skills, job titles, all that kind of information is also classed as data. And the last thing as well, when you run through workflows, things like logging a phone call, sending an email, that will produce things like last contacted. So you can search on when they were last contacted, as well as many other things. So these are all things that are captured within running things or workflows or editing in the system. The second thing is document searching. So I don't know if you guys, Alexis, you already, I don't know if you all Boolean search or if you know what that term is. If you do, fantastic. That'll set you up because we'll be using that in the document search. If not, I'll show you what that means. But basically, the document search will be searching through any documents in the system that have been attached in those document libraries. So generally, we're talking about the candidate CV. So we'll look at that second. Now, once you've seen both the data and document search and what they can do in their own right, we can go and do a combined candidate search. What this does is you can combine the Boolean searching through the CVs and then narrow it down by data. So once you understand the other two, the combined candidate search, for me, personally, I think is really, really powerful. And once we understand searching fully, then you'll be able to see, now we've got our results, what can we do with them? Again, Adapt is fantastic with all the options of things you can do in the system. So let's get started and take a look at searching. Right, now to begin searching, little clue for you. We've got the search tab over here. So we've got data searching is in the searches part of the tab, and then we've got our document searching second. So let's go in order. Let's start with searches. So when you click in here, this is a list of all the different types of data search in the system. There's so many things you could do. I could probably spend a few hours going through that right now, but you might not appreciate that on one webinar. So what we do is I'm going to keep this webinar, this search webinar, really candidate focused for you guys, because that is the main thing that people use it for. Then when you get your full training with your bonds trainer, we can go through additional fields and different searches and what would you like to search on. For example, you can see here I've got a contact search. So it could be that you want to find a list of all your HR managers or people in a particular job role, find them all in a certain area and send out a really nice marketing campaign like e-shot, so email to them all. So you could do that in a contact search. You could do things like client searches as well. And it might be you want to know things a bit more about your interviews. So you can see there's so many things that you can do in the system. Now, like I said, we're going to keep it focused on candidate today. So I'm just going to point out all the different searches and what the difference is with them. So that combined candidate search is the third search we'll do today. And that combines this data search with a document search. The general candidate search means that when you search on candidates here, it doesn't narrow down what role type they are. So it will find all people that are permanent, contract and temp. So if you don't want to narrow down to role type, you can come and look in here. And it could be, for example, that you're a perm person. You're looking for a perm candidate for a role. You have got limited perm candidates that are appropriate. So you might want to widen it out and look at all your contractors and temp workers as well and see if you've got any key people that you might want to ring them and say, I know you generally are interested in temp work, but would you consider this role? So you might not want to narrow them down. Now then we can narrow it down by the two different types, or three, should I say. So we've got permanent candidate search, which is what we'll look at today. And we've also got a nice temp and contract candidate search in as well. So you can see how you go and pick in what role type you want to look at. So we're going to start with looking at that permanent candidate search. Now, when we're in here, you'll see shortly, at first, you can see there's so many different fields in there. And that is because you've got the option in the candidate profile to build up as much or as little information as you want to. So, and when I'm training, I always recommend that when you're running searches, you've got to think, what do I want to search for? That's how you can really think, what do I want to profile in the first place? So it could be, for example, it's really important for you guys in certain roles to find out that they're a driver. If you want to be able to search for that, you need to make sure that you've updated that when you're going and completing the candidate in the first place and updating their information. So let's have a little scroll through and see the kind of things we can look at. So you can see you can search by visa expiry date, so from and to dates on here. You've got a really key one here, which is you can search by status. So you can see status here. Now on the black file, we'll give you a list of all those statuses that we saw earlier on. So you might want to find all your people that are active. We might actually want to find all your people that are placed. See how many people you've got there. You've got registration incomplete as well. So you might think, how many people have I got that I could get in to register? So lots of things you can go and look at there. So you could look at 2 roles at once. So you might want to look for all your active people and your registration incomplete people at the same time. Or you don't have to search on status at all. So that's really up to you. Coming down a bit further down, you can see this is where you could say, I have a hot candidate. So I want to look for my hot list first of all. Again, really nice on the contracts and temp side particularly, because you might have key people that you kind of place over and over again, that you just know that any client would like them. Almost. Down a bit further here, you can narrow down to things like what's the minimum salary from and to, or you might want to do a range in there. So let's do run a search quickly and then we'll kind of build it up. So we've got in there status. So I could say I only want to find my active candidates. I don't want people that are in a job. I don't want people that haven't yet been registered. So if you pop that information in, you just come down to the run search button and click that. And you'll see here, your results are up here and I've got 37 results. Now, it may be I want to narrow down those results a little bit more because I think 37 is a bit too many. So I might want to put in some more key criteria. Now to go back into your data search and change those options, you can come over to the right hand side here and either go into general or into the area that you want to update. So I'm going to click on general. And what else have I put in there? So I'm going to look for somebody that's on a minimum salary of, let's say, 30k. So I just want to narrow it down. So then if I run my search again, come to run search, and you'll see that's produced me a list of 9 people. So that's quite a realistic shortlist. And of course, you might want to narrow down other things. So if I go back into my search, you can do lots of other things. So I'll point out key popular things with other clients. So you might want to put in the client's postcode in here and do a radius search on all your candidates that live nearby within a certain radius. Really powerful on that search. You also might want to search for things like a consultant. So if you guys have candidate ownership, so you own your own candidates, you might not want to look for everyone's candidates in the system that are active. You might only want to look at yours. So you would type in your name in there and click on either the magnifying glass or an enter, find yourself, and then you could run a search on just your candidates. Other things you'd expect to see in here would be things like job roles. So in job categories, you might want to see what type of job they've done before. So we might want to go and find, say, somebody that's worked as a manager. So I could put manager up here, and it might be a specific type of manager. Can't type today. And then clicking on search here, that will bring back anything that's got the word manager in. So if I wanted a branch manager, I would then tick on that little box there. And you can see now, if I scroll down, I'm searching for a branch manager. We'll ignore this little bit for now. I'll come back to that in a second. So then you could go and run your search on branch managers. Now you can do exactly the same as you just did on job roles under industry sector. So you might want someone with just that industry experience. Might be really important for that client. Or it could be a specific qualification that they might need. Or the fourth option down here is a skill. So again, a really popular one would be skill. So it might be they need to have sales experience. So you could type the skill type in there and search. And if you had a specific sales that you had, I don't actually have sales in here, I just have sales ledger, you would then tick that box and then you could go and run the search based on that criteria. Now, something I do want to explain to you is this concept of parent, child, and sibling. So let's use an example of industry sector. So it could be that I've got a client that's looking for someone with finance and banking experience here in that industry sector. Now, if I open up that folder, you'll see here, if I click next to accountancy, just to show you what I mean, first of all, what you'll see here is that automatically it says I'm looking for someone that's worked in the industry with accountancy, and you've got, first of all, you have an option of must have or desirable or must not have. So you might say I want to look for someone that doesn't have something. You might want to say must have, so they have to have worked in, so they must be coded up that they've definitely worked with that. Or you can say it's desirable. So it will find people that might have that code or might not. So that's the first option there. So most of the time, if you're looking for just one particular thing, you would say they must have that, and that's the idea of running that search in the first place. Now, what is this concept of parent, children, and sibling? So imagine yourself a nice little family, first of all. The best way for me to explain this to you is if you see, this is a folder here, you can see this is a hierarchy in bold, and then there's certain subjects that are below it. So this top one, finance and banking, is a parent code. And any codes that are listed below it, so anything below that, so accountancy, banking and building societies, is a child code. So that kind of sets you up in the concept first of all. So what I might do is I might be looking for someone that they kind of said they must have either finance and banking, that's a definite, but it's desirable that they have worked in accountancy. So if I go and search on accountancy first of all, and just run that search, if it doesn't bring anyone back, or it might only bring back one or two results, I might want to widen up that search. So at the moment, if I don't tick on any of these things, it's just looking for them to have accountancy on their profile. Now, if I want to widen up the search further, what I could do is leave it ticked on accountancy and click on parent. And what that will do is it will search up the hierarchy. So it will search for anyone that's got the word as or code accountancy in their candidate record, and also anyone that's got the actual code that says finance and banking. So it will search for anyone with accountancy or finance and banking. So it kind of widens up that search. So it looks up the hierarchy. What I also have the option of doing is starting at the finance and banking bit there. So I can start at the parent code, and then what I could do is click on children, and it would search for anyone that's got finance and banking and also any of the children code below it. So it would search for anyone with accountancy, banking, building society, financial services, or insurance. So it searches down the list. Or finally, I might go back to accountancy and go to sibling. And you know what's coming next? It will search for anything that's on its level. So it will search for also banking, building society, etc. But it won't search for that parent code. So in this example, it's quite a good one because they might say, right, this is essential, but it's desirable that they have one of these. And if they don't, they would still be interested in anyone that's kind of got this industry experience. So you can see how you can kind of widen up a search. Now I'm going to run my search results again. I'm going to come back with those 9. So that's pretty much how you run a data search. You can come in here, you can go back over, set up your search as you want it. Now at the moment, I've got 9 results, but all I can see is their name. So you might want to go in and just choose what information do I want to see on this candidate. Now to do that, you go to options and you go to the formatter tool. Now in the formatter tool, what you would do is come down here and double click on things that you want to see on the candidate. So I want to see their full name. So if you double click, it will appear at the top. I also want to see this person's home email address. I want to see their mobile number. I also want to see their minimum salary, and I want to see their status. So you can see how you can go through and double click on anything you want to see. Now at the top here, if you want to change the order of something, you just click on it. And oh yeah, you've got arrows, so you can even change the order of the columns. So once you've done that, you click on apply. And now I can see key information. So it's starting to look a bit more like a reliable list. Now once you've done your search, you're happy with that, then you can go and save those results. Call it what you want to. And then you can come back and use these results and review them at any time. So that is how you set up, first of all, a data search. Hope that makes sense. So now we're going to go back to searches and document search. So this is where, if you guys have experience with Boolean searching, brilliant. If not, I will explain it as we go. So the first thing you can do is you want to tell the system what documents do I want to search through. So starting to do that, we go to options on the side here, click on that. And what this is doing, it will list all the different folders that are listed in those document libraries, so where that little paperclip was, throughout the system. So you can see things like adapt CV, you can see on their basic T's and C's. So folders we've seen already, at the moment, we're looking through all of these. So you could come in, you could deselect all, and then you might just want to search through the original CV, for example. So you would scroll down, click on original CV, and then click on options, and you're now only searching through that. Just to make sure I get lots of results, I'm going to leave it on selected to all, but you would probably come in and select the document that you want to personally search through. So now we're going to go in and I'm going to type in what I'm looking for. So my client has asked me that they are looking for a project manager. Just a little tip here, so where it says get results at the bottom, don't click that until you finally want to get your results, because with the document search, it automatically saves when you click on get results. So I would make sure, first of all, you are set up with exactly what you want. So to actually get the results now, I now click into the white space, and that will give me a nice number down here, which is 240 people. So I've got 240, but what is it that I'm actually searching for right now? So what I've told the system to look for is the word project and the word manager, but not necessarily contained together. So it's searching through all those CVs and it's looking for both those words individually, but not as a subject. And we want to look for just a project manager. So we want it to contained as a phrase. So to make sure we're looking for that as a job title, we need to make sure that we put speech marks before and after the word project and the word manager. Now, when I click into the white space, you'll see that's reduced my results to 69. So it's looking a bit more realistic. Now, we don't just want to search on one thing, do we? We want to search on multiple criteria. So to go and add another line, we go to Advanced, click on that, and you'll notice an Add button appear. So if we click on that little button, we've now got a next line where we can add in our next bit of criteria. And you'll see here I've got an option of saying I'm looking for a project manager, and I can put either and or and not. So I'm going to say I'm looking for a project manager or, and remembering my speech marks here, a project director. Ending my speech marks there. So now when I click into the space, I've got 80. So I've widened up my search further because I'm looking for one thing or the other. Now, just a little pointer at this one. Do you remember I showed you the asterisks earlier on over here? You can use the same on a search. This is where it's really good. So it might be I'm interested in someone that was a project manager, done something that's project managerial, or what's the other word I was looking for? Project management, anything like that. So if I go back and end it at G and then put an asterisk there, it will look for any of the roles that begin with a M-A-N-A-G. So now if we click into that white space, I've got 265. So I've massively widened up the amount of candidates that I'm searching through. Now I actually want to keep my results a little bit more narrowed for what I'm showing you guys. So I'm going to go back to manager, but just bear that in mind so that you can really widen up how you're looking through the CVs. So now I'm going to add on another bit of criteria. Say I want them to have either that or that experience. And let's say that they can speak French, naturally. We just happen to have a lot of language codes in our system. And then we go, and also they have customer service experience. Let's hope I get some results here, guys. So again, you notice on the word French, I've not had to put my speech marks because it's only one word. So it's just searching for that word. But back to customer service, I've then put my speech marks around it. So you can see now I've got 72 results. Now, for any of you, again, that Boolean search, you'll know that there's one little thing that's missing right now. So what I need to tell the system is, if you think about it, I'm looking for two sets of results here and I need them combined. So I am either looking for a project manager that speaks French and has customer service experience, and that's one set of results. Or I'm looking for a project director with French and customer service experience as well. So it's a little bit like algebra. So the logic that is changing, your ORs, that's the thing that's changing over. These are staying constant. So anything that's changing, any variable logic around ORs, you must put brackets. So I need to say, open bracket, I'm looking for a project manager, or I'm looking for a project director, and you close the bracket at the end of that. And then you would say, and French and customer service. Now, you can continue adding as many criteria bits in as you want, because you might still have like 100 results here. So you could go, I've obviously only got 8, but you could go and. So we could have project manager or project director and French, and I could say and customer service, and I could say or sales, because usually there's some kind of crossover. So if I was having an or here, I would say customer service, so open bracket, customer service or sales, and close the bracket around there and look for my results. So I've now got 31. So it's just remembering. Now, for any of you that do currently Boolean search, you'll know this visually looks a little bit different because normally you're doing it in a string sentence, so you would type it all in one row. So visually, you just have to remember to drop down. And this is where most people get confused, because you need to remember that the or is in the middle here. So you go bracket, or, and then close the bracket at the end. And that's all we've really got to do. So I hope you understand that okay. Any questions, come back and let us know. Not on this webinar because you're not on it, but you can come back to any of the on-demand team or your account manager. Now, one more thing on the document search. You have the option to weigh the importance of your criteria. So this is really effective if you've still got quite a lot of results. So I'm looking for a project manager or project director, and that's the key bit here. So I'm going to say out of the 1 to 5 criteria weighing, 1 is the most important, and that's how it is in the system. So I'm going to leave project manager and project director as a 1. I'm going to say the fact they speak French is the second most important thing. And then sales is the third, and customer service just follows down. So you can weigh the order that you want your criteria to follow. Once you've built this search up, these are optional by the way, so once you've done this, you can then go to get results, and finally you'll get your list of results. Now you'll see here, this is automatically saved, there isn't a save button, and just like before, you need to go and set up the columns of information you want to see. Now just to let you know that once you've done that once, you once reformatted, every time you go and rerun the search, it will come up with the same results again and again. What I mean by that is if I go to options, go to format a tool, pop in the bits of information I see, so whatever you want to see on there, and apply. Now if I go and do another document search and run it, it will come up with these columns of information every time. So a brilliant thing about Adapt is the information always kind of saves for you unless you tell the system otherwise. And that's how you run a document search in the system. So I hope that makes sense. Oh, one thing I haven't showed you is how you weigh that criteria. So we can't see that weighing in there. So if we go to options and go back to the formatter tool, if you guys, you can always learn this again in the training that you'll get for when we come on site, but you'll see now if I go to sort in here, instead of view, you'll go to the ranking and weighing option there and tick that and apply. And how good is that? So if I click on the on button, that will show you all my results, and you can see I want the most important first, not the least. So if you double click in the weighing bit there twice, that will sort your criteria. So if you've got lots and lots of results, you can quite clearly see I have a nice clear top 3 candidates, and obviously I'm just going to give them a call first, and hopefully they'll be interested and perfect for the job. Now I can even click on that bar in blue and it will actually show me, can you believe this? It will show me what criteria has been ticked and what was found. So I can see project manager, and they speak French and they work in sales. So you can do that per person and go down and click that criteria. And that's how you can really make the most of your searching, by adding in that weighing option there. So clicking back on off, that brings back my results for me. So that's a document search. Now, are you ready? for search number 3. So we know how to do both. Going back to searches and searches, so back into the data section there, you just go to combined candidate search. So now all we're doing is putting those rules together. So we have the option in here to do the Boolean part, which is our bit with our brackets and our speech marks. So I'm going to say I'm looking for a business analyst and I want to search through the CVs rather than through the data. So typing in here for Boolean, that searches anything through their CVs. So if I go and run that first of all, let's just see how many we've got. So I've got 10 people. They're going back into that search. I might now just want to tell the system that I only want, let's for example, contract candidates. So if I go to contracts and go to yes, and now run the search, out of those people that have been business analysts based on what they put in their CV, I have 4 people that are contractors. Then when I'm happy with that, I can go and save that. But just to go show you again, you've now got criterion. You can still do your search, postcode searches, minimum salary, lots of things in there. So this is how you can go in and search first on the CV and narrow it down by data. So really powerful, that search. Let's save that. So what am I doing there? So BAs, contractors. There we go. Fantastic. So that is our 3 different types of search in the system. Brilliant. Okay, so we know how to search. My finale, always my favorite bit is, okay, we've gone and done that. We've done the searching. Really important for you guys to know how to search or when you would use which type of search. But now we really want to know what we can do with those results. So if we go to searches, there's a saved results folder there. In there, this will list any of my searches that I've done and that I've saved. As I mentioned before, document searches you can see automatically save and they're called document search. So you can come in here, tick next to it, go to activities and you can just rename that search. So I was looking for project managers or project developers, directors. So I can proceed and rename that so I can remember what this is. Now where this comes in really powerful is by you can actually go and create, effectively these are saved search results, but they can be lists of people. So you could have a list of project managers, you could have a list of available contractors, you could have a list of people that work for a particular client. They only want these people and you create a list of people because you can add to these lists. So you've got to think of these as that you could have maybe 20, 30, 40 different lists of things that you can use over and over again. So I'm going to go back into my active permanent candidate search. So if I click back on it in blue, it will just reopen my search for me. Now over here we've got options of what we can do. Now before I show you that actually, at the moment I'm highlighted on David Cooper. So if we come down here to the bottom of the screen, I can see a little entity preview of him. So I can see his status, what he's looking for, his minimum salary. I've also, are you ready for this? Can see his CV at any time. So if I just click on document preview, I can scroll through that CV. Really good tool there. And then what I could do, of course, is just give him a call because his number's there, hover over his name, and then I could just log the call and what we discussed. Love that. So that's one thing you can do in the system. The other thing you can do is one thing you might do is you might want to review each person before you call them. So not just by those bits, but you might actually want to go in their profile. So I can click on David here. This will take me into his profile, as you can see. Now I might have a little scroll through, look at the notes here, what's happened, or look at the full notes, which are in here, in the journal. So you can scroll through, see all the things that have happened. And then you've got a highlighter option. This is particularly good with temps or contractors, but not only them, just as good with perm actually. So I can click on that little square there, actually it's a rectangle, and I could say, I've got a color code option here. So I could say anyone that is pink means they're available and they're interested in this job. You'll see I've got 1 of 9 results, so I can scroll to the next person that's in my results. So I can now look at Davina, speak to her, log the call, review her, and then click on the highlighter, and I might have yellow as uncontact. I haven't been able to contact her. So you can see how you can go through and you can choose what these colours mean to you. So you've got kind of an highlighter option. Now you can hopefully see how you can start building up this search. And I could mean that, what should we say? Turquoise means already booked out on a job. So now if I want to go back to my list, I can click on that search results button. It takes me back to my list. And you can see in here my highlighted options. Now, so that color code can mean whatever you want it to you. Now, if we scroll along a little bit, I've also got a bit where I can kind of make comments. I can put whatever I want. So every time you jump back into this search results, you can see the latest thing that means something to you. Now, you can also highlight from here. You don't have to doing it the way I do. You can just go next to the next person, which is John, and go to the options, and then you could go through and highlight from here, and then make your notes. So you've got different options. You can do it in there. Also, you could speak to someone. So we could say the turquoises, or blues, or greens, whatever that color is. We can say they're the ones that are already working in a job and they're not interested. So from the options, you could go to lose entities, delete, and that will remove them from your search. So you're now building a really effective search. Other options in here, you can go and add entities. So this means if you've got a person that you think would be really good on this search results, they've just walked in the door and you think, I want to add them to this list, you could come down, click on person, find the person by typing in their name, and you could go click on them, and then that will add them to the list. Also from the options, you do have the choice here to go and print, or you can export it to Excel and sort it how you want to. So lots of things that you can do in here. Now this is a bit where it gets exciting. So you've got so many batch options in here. So are you ready for this? So batch. I think I'll get a bit too excited at this. So you can come in here on adapt. You've got your results. You know the people that you want to speak to or send something to. And from here, you can go and tick on that little tick there and select all and go to batch. And you can send out, if you've got text options in your system, which you may or may not have, you can send a candidate a text to all those people at one go. I know. How good's that? And also, you can do exactly the same with an email. So you could have an email template set up for you. So if we click on that, candidate e-shot means email, mail shot means letter. So we're going to stick to e-shot. So from the options in templates, you guys can have templates attached. So you could have in here something like, please contact me. Are you interested in this job? You could have a blank email in there. And so let's select one. Now your subject may be, let's just say, please contact me. You can attach any documents through here. And then you could write the main bulk of your information in here. So you can add things in. You can then preview your email. So before you send out this email, so it could be 8 people, it could be 250 people, you might want to have a little preview first of all, just to make sure you spelled everything okay. So you can see it would say dear, and it would make it individual, the candidate. It sends it on a BCC, so it sends it individually. You could see, you'll see the bulk of your email here, and anything you write in after below that. Then all your details will pull over from your email, so your contact details, and then when you click on send, that will send that email out to all those people on that list in one click. Such a good way of sending things through. So you can go batch. You can do the same with, like I say, text. You can do that with e-shots. You can also request availability. So you can send out an email to all those people saying, are you available between these certain dates for this project or for this role? Another one that's so popular is you can shortlist from here. So I can click on shortlist. I've found all my people for my job. Let's find a job in here. So you would go and put in your job title, click on the job, so office manager role, for example, click on OK, and that will move all those people straight to the shortlist. So then when you go back to that job, you can start working through that job. I'm trying to see if there's any other ones in there that are good for you guys. So I think they are the main ones. So see all the different things you can do in here, so it will make your life really easy. Now I'm going to go back to searches and search results, and just a couple of little things before we finish. So here, if I tick next to my search in the activities, I have all my batch options in my saved search as well. I can also copy a search over to a colleague. So say we're both working on the same job and I've run a search already to save some time. And let's be honest, your job's all about time. If I click on copy, click on user role, and then go and search my colleague's name in there. Again, Alan. When I find him and click on his name, that will straight away send this search over to his search results. So he's now also got that list sitting there. So you can kind of work on that list together. Now let's see what else we've got in there. So we've got things like rerun. So like I mentioned before, you might have a list of certain people. So certain, what should we say? Project managers. And you might want to rerun that search manually. So come and click on that. Maybe a week or 2 weeks later, rerun it. And any new candidates in that have the same criteria that match the search, it will add them to that list for you. But, and this is where I'll end it here, even better, you can come down and make a search active. Now, when I first saw this, I couldn't believe you actually could do this. So when you've got a search in the system that you think is really vital, so it might be you've got 2 weeks to get someone to the candidate, or you've got this really competitive market, what you can do is you can get the search to rerun itself as often as you want. So if we go in here and say, I want this search to rerun itself every day, let's make it active from tomorrow. Now, before I get into work, I want it to rerun itself at 7 o'clock, and I want that to rerun every day, so once every day, and to notify me with any new candidates that match that search. Now, when you apply that, you can see it's been made active by here and what date. Every day it's going to refresh. When you come in tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock, this search will rerun itself. If any other consultants or anyone else has registered a candidate or imported a candidate that matches your search, you'll get a little notification up here and it will say new search results for your active perm candidate search. You'll think, brilliant, come back here, click on the search, and any new results will be listed in blue. So then you can go and call those candidates straight away and keep on top of it. If you ever want to deactivate that search once you place somebody in that role, come back here and click on that, and then finally deactivate. And that is how you can kind of run your search. So get on your systems, get practicing. I hope you're getting on okay and that you enjoyed the webinar. Thank you very much for attending, and take care.